everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Poll. I am, of course, Sal from Comic Pop, and joining me today are a triage of amazing people. To my immediate right, we've got Cape Joel. To my immediate left, we have the Real Zoobs, and of course, to her left, we have Comics Explained. These are from our respective channels, and today we're going to talk about all the news from today's comic world that's fit to print. But before we do that, Rob from Comics Explained's got a little something to say.
Ladies and gentlemen of the chat, the members of the Weekly Poll group who are watching this right now, the ones who will be undoubtedly watching this on Sal's channel, I have an announcement to make.
Oh shit! He hasn't told us, so this is new for
no,
us too,
I'm very concerned.
When I was 16 years old, I picked up a Moon Knight comic and I read through it and I said, nope, this is Marvel's Batman. And I closed it and I said, I'm never reading it again.
That's fair.
And every event that I ever saw him in, I was like, this is dumb. This event just got worse because Moon Knight's in it.
Yeah.
I'm reading Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight right now.
Oh,
yeah.
It's fucking amazing. Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
Did you read the Ellis stuff that preceded this, where like every issue was a done in one? That's pretty.
You
solid,
gotta
too.
read the Ellis one.
Go read that.
I did not read the Warren. People kept telling me that I have to read the Warren Ellis one. Now, here's the other thing, Sal. This announcement pertains specifically to you.
okay.
Oh.
Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know. How good.
How could I know? How could I have a friend that runs a YouTube channel that talks about it all the time and not know?
Right? It was great. It started out awesome, and like Big Time is the place to start. And you're just like, oh!
Dude,
Yeah.
it's good.
I'm glad you like it.
It's really, really enjoyable. Like, I dig it right now. Like, okay, so just to make sure, Big Time was the first time that Dan Slott officially took over as, like, the sole writer, right?
Pretty much, because he was part of the whole Brand New Day team.
Yeah,
and he did run the whole story arc called New Ways to Die. He handled himself. But Big Time was where he was like, I'm taking over and we're going to do it my way.
Okay. Well, I really like it because I'm getting into it, and it's like I'm discovering Spider-Man for the first time.
Yeah, that's what that's what it should feel like.
Dude,
I felt
never
superior when it got me back in.
Yeah.
Dude, I never consistently read Spider-Man. I mean, like, I would read a comic occasionally, but I was more of like Captain America, Avengers, X-Men.
Yeah, you were the big leagues.
I was a big leagues guy, and so like I'm reading through Spider-Man, and it's like, oh, there's Maximo now. This is what we first see, like Horizon Labs, and it's like super exciting. It's really, really fun. Sal, you were right. Spider-Man was not bad. I still think it's good. But
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah. Yeah, that's if anybody's gonna like Spider-Man, I think that's the time to like him.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
And
like
if you haven't read Spider Island, Spider Island's like the culmination of everything. Like that's where everything kind of coalesces, and you just go like, yes, like it can never get better than this. And guess what? It doesn't.
Dumb tish.
But I like Big Time right now. Like I like that whole that whole story arc event, because it's like it seemed like Dan Slott came along and he's like, okay, here's all the stuff Straczynski did. Like everything that I didn't do gets pushed out of the way, and we make way for like new stuff. That's exactly what it felt like, and it was done in a pretty cool way. But it was kind of like a grounding. It was kind of like bringing Parker back. Like it's a good starting off point.
Yes.
So
not only that, but you know what? I know exactly the moment that got you too. It was the daylight savings time moment.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Dude, that's exactly what it was, because it's like, he's like, man, I'm nowhere near as smart as Reed Richards and Iron Man and Tony Stark, you know, and like they sit down, he's like, no, wait a minute, guys, I just bought us an extra hour.
Yeah.
Daylight savings time.
Now think about it for a while and help us solve this problem.
Yeah, well, it's like, wow, Peter Parker, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's smart.
I really like that moment too.
Yeah, I dig that. I mean, it's kind of cool, because there wasn't a whole lot of catching up to do. It was just like why Jameson hates Peter Parker, who Michelle is. I mean, there's a couple things that don't really... well,
what's great is they're also like, who's Michelle? Well, who gives a shit? She's gone.
Yeah, she's like, bye. I'm out. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, she was like, I'm an annoying character from Brand New Day. Goodbye.
Was it around that time too? Carly Cooper, whatever, was that a Dan Slott creation too?
She was created by Dan Slott. Carly Cooper had already kind of been established as his girlfriend, but like she kind of kept him at arm's length. This is the arc where it's obvious Slott is going to get rid of her, but it takes him like 3 arcs to do it.
Oh, dude,
He's created a lot of love interest for Peter, hasn't he? And a lot of potential love interest, hasn't he, Slot, in his tenure on the book?
Well, that was the decree. Brand New Day was like, you got to make all these women for Parker. Like Michelle was a love interest. Carly's a love interest.
Anne Marie.
Anna Marie is a car. I mean, like, you know, you got all kinds of options. But anyway,
It's still my favorite by far, Anne Marie, especially after what went down in Clone Conspiracy.
I was really kind of hoping she was going to go all mad scientist and be like, "Oh, Otto, you and I are going to be the beautiful power couple."
I know that's been your pitch for a while, being like, "No, it's okay, my love. We'll kill them all."
Yeah, I kind of hope that's where it's going.
yeah. I don't know. It's really kind of funny. One thing that kind of cracked me up. Okay, here's a question I do have though. The backup features.
Yes.
Like with the what's the name of that really the looter? All right, stories like the looter stuff. Do those matter?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, they're only like supplemental. Like if you want to know a little bit more about XYZ, that might be in there. It's mostly just for you to be like, ooh, an untethered Spider-Man adventure.
Okay,
you know, so
that's kind of what I was feeling because I was like, they don't really seem like they're tied into anything.
No,
that's what.
Not really.
All right, good enough. I just want to throw that out there.
Totally. Well, Joel's got a slew of topics for us today.
That's fun. I like seeing Rob get all happy, being like, "Hey, remember this thing you guys were talking about like a year and a half ago, or sometimes more? I just found it. It's great."
As it turns out, it actually rocks.
Well, I did the Incredible Hulk long series, and I was like, I want to do another long series. And with Tony Stark being an Iron Man, I thought about doing like Warren Ellis, like starting with Warren Ellis's Extremis.
Yeah,
and then like just going forward because everything after that is incredible.
The best years of Iron Man, in my opinion. The fraction stuff, yeah.
Yeah, hands down, some of the best years of Iron Man. But I was like, but everybody knows who Iron Man is, and like no one's going to see the Amazing Spider-Man because Iron Man's going to be in it.
No,
I'm going to see the Amazing Spider-Man because it's Amazing Spider-Man. So I was like, I want to do a Spider-Man run, and I sat down. I was like, well, I'm going to do all different Amazing Spider-Man when that comes out. So I was like, well, hell, why not just do the lead up to it? It's 22 volumes, it's 22 videos, just like cover it all, and then like bookend it with the release of the movie, so that we just go straight into it. It's like if you want to know everything that leads up to this, go watch this playlist.
That's a good point.
I am similarly planning for the future, actually, with Logan coming out. I want to do another required reading of Wolverine stories, which is actually pretty easy because there's like a few seminal books that they still keep circulated in trade and everything, so it's not that hard, actually.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so we're starting from the bottom. Yeah, we're starting from the bottom of the list and working our way up.
Starting from the bottom. Now we're here.
Oops. Okay. Oops. That was the cabinet for my computer. Sorry, guys.
Whoops.
Oh.
But no, it didn't fall. The door just slammed shut.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, good.
Because if you need a minute, we'll give you a minute.
No, we're good. We're good.
So, hey, you hear Del Toro there had a big poll on his Twitter feed for all the fans. Do you want Hellboy 3, everybody?
I was never really a big Hellboy fan, to be honest.
The second one is so good. I did not feel the first one. I think the second is a genuinely great sequel.
I'm the other way around. I like the first one. The second one's fine. My problem is Del Toro can't deliver on like anything. Yeah. So you know,
I disagree with that. Mama was
no. I'm not saying he can't deliver like a product. I mean, like he'll say he's going to do a project and then he drops out of it.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't trust that if he said if he ever offers to pick you up from the airport, like get an Uber ready to go because he is not going to come get you.
He's not. Yeah, there's like an 80% chance he's not going to come and show you up and help you out with his bags. Like look at The Hobbit.
Look at Death Stranding. He backed out of Death Stranding this week. Remember the Hulk TV show he was supposed to be involved in?
Remember Justice League Dark? Remember Into the Mouth of Madness?
Yep.
The list goes on and on of failed or abandoned Del Toro projects.
Yeah, like putting that poll out to the Twitterverse is like saying like, yeah, I just want to hear that you think I'm great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like Rob putting out a tweet that's like a poll that says like, Rob, and then it's like option 1, rocks. Option 2, rocks really hard.
Dude, I irritated a whole bunch of my fans this morning because I tweeted out. I was like, good morning, Rob Core. Also, morning confession, I think Hydra Steve Rogers is better than regular Steve Rogers. People were getting irritated. I was like, no, he's better. Like, by leaps and bounds, he's better.
It's more interesting than he's been since, like, the Brubaker days.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling people, man. Like, people are like, what do you think about it right now? I'm like, you need to read Brubaker. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry to sidetrack the conversation.
No, that's fair.
I was never a big Hellboy fan. I love Ron Perlman. I will watch almost anything that Ron Perlman's in, but I was never a huge Hellboy fan. I get the mythos is really popular, but that whole weird, kind of situation was like, not really too into it.
I
Not
hear
your
you.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to see guys in suits get drunk and sing Barry Manilow songs again. It's a very
Right.
particular thing I have.
And I gotta tell you, I love Hellboy's affinity for cats, so, there's that. I like the idea, I like the world building behind it. I like it as like an alternate history almost, like for us. Like I do like that. I don't know, like I just felt like 1 and 2 were so different from one another that like there's like a disconnect there, and I think people will tend to go towards one or the other.
Yeah.
So if he does do a third one, which one is he going to tone it towards, or is it going to be something completely different?
Yeah, because here's the thing: Hellboy 2 ends with the promise of Hellboy babies, and if Shrek has taught us anything, it's that adding babies to your monster franchise is the death knell.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Hellboy has dad problems now.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of out of ideas. We're just gonna throw a baby.
Maybe they'll just like they'll take care of it by being like she has the baby and it doesn't look anything like him,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oops."
Oh,
Came
it's
out-
Myers' children.
Oh shit, and that's how you bring him back into it.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh man.
that's rough.
They could do that actually, because I love that they just completely write Myers off in the second one, being like, yeah, we sent him to
Right?
Antarctica.
Yeah, well, because he was the ride-along character, and we don't need him anymore.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
need a POV character.
Yeah, and as much as like I love the idea of like if you have an actor like Doug Jones, right, to give them the opportunity to voice it, but you can't go from having David Hyde Pierce, who I thought was great, to completely switching it to Doug
Yeah.
Jones. Like it's either one or the other. Like if you're gonna have Doug Jones, and you're going all in on Doug Jones.
I like Hellboy 2 so much it actually made me really like Seth MacFarlane for a little bit as the German smoke doctor.
I thought that was the dumbest thing about that movie.
I thought, I'm like, oh wow, they're finally using him to his potential now. Finally,
It's just
voicing stuff.
any German will tell you that's like the worst accent they could have possibly like mustered.
I guess.
Just weird. It was almost Peter Sellers-esque. Only Seth MacFarlane ain't Peter Sellers.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Hellboy 3. I feel like we're past that time.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's clamoring for one, and if they are, it's like it's people who like hold out hope for things like a Firefly season 2. It's just things that ain't gonna happen. Hellboy 3, Firefly season 2.
Especially
I mean-
in this new age of superhero movies. I mean, just look how hard the X-Men movies have to fight and claw
Just to
try
make a
and
good
stay
one.
relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just
Yeah.
make a good one and not feel 10 years behind the curve. Literally, it's been so long since Hellboy 2.
Right, but like the thing with Hellboy is that it is more supernatural or like mystic, and then you look at the success of something like Fantastic Beasts. You know what I mean? So like
That's
they
true.
could ride the coattails of something like that as opposed to hanging on the comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm just waiting on Dread 2. That's all.
Oh, we're never gonna get that.
Oh, thank God Del Toro has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so are we moving on to our next topic?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
I am excited about this one. Mr. Sunday Movies tweeted this out. It was the new Star Wars movie, Episode 8. It's called The Last Jedi.
Oh.
And Mr. Sunday Movies had this amazing tweet where he was like, Luke Skywalker's been The Last Jedi for 30 years. What has he been doing?
Yeah.
Like, he's just been...
He ain't been boning. He ain't been, making more Jedi. We know that much.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had
clearly
that Ren group. But
Mhm.
Right, he
Possibly.
tried to do something,
Just
but
blew up in his face.
yeah, it didn't work. So then he left. And that
Yeah.
was the end of that. I thought it was interesting that it was red.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
classic yellow.
yeah, it was so jarring. I was like, I don't know what this implies. I don't know how to take this.
It implies like kind of sinister overtones. It makes you
Yeah.
feel. It gives you that kind of like uncomfortable. This is going to be probably kind of dark feeling, and obviously they're going to be drawing parallels between this and Empire. I'm hoping that they're not just like this has to be the dark one. So meh. I hope it's just that like
Right.
this story needs to be told, and it just happens to be. Like, this color will evoke that kind of feeling, or it should kind of give you an indication as to how you should feel when you see this
Do you
title.
Do you think there's any chance that it's a nod to Kylo Ren?
Well, that is something funny too. As someone pointed out to me, the plural of Jedi is Jedi. So when
Yeah.
they say the Last Jedi, they might not be talking about one. They could be talking about a whole group of
Yeah.
the Last Jedi.
It's very
Well, that
true.
was my thought, because if it was like, I mean, but then again, like if it was like the last of the Jedi, that could like signify a group too. But I mean, okay, so here's the deal. Like, I get that they're going for like the Star Wars theme. Like, Episode 4 was when, Luke Skywalker blew up the first Death Star. So, of course, we got a title Empire, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, because they strike back.
Yes.
But this is in the 1970s and 1980s. They might as well have called it, like, Star Wars Episode 8, like, Rey hangs out with Luke Skywalker for a while. Like, that's almost what the title feels like.
It'd
look,
still
we've
make
come
$1
long
billion.
way. Oh, dude, I would.
I'm going.
I'd
Like,
watch it just for the title. I'd be like, the title is amazing. But I mean, I kind of expect that with Disney kind of taking this whole Star Wars franchise under their belt and with them really kind of relaunching it, I expected like a less on the nose title and something more like a little mysterious or a little clandestine, a little cloak and dagger or something like that. A little enigmatic. Like, I don't.
Gotta spell it out for folks in the cheap seats, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I mean, there's
the last time we got like a title that didn't mean anything and confused everybody, it was called The Phantom Menace.
That's true.
yeah.
We're like, what the hell does that mean?
And also, it's almost an homage to the third movie, which is so funny. Or not the third, but like Return of the Jedi. Like we return to the Jedi, and now we have the Last Jedi. You know what I mean? Like they've done something like this before. It's just interesting that they're calling an homage to part of a trilogy that we're not at right now.
Don't forget also, Return/Revenge of the Jedi's like logo was always red.
Yeah.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Clever, Sal. I hope for the next one they borrow some like Planet of the Apes stuff when we have like Below the Planet of the Jedi and War for the Planet of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Icarus Inundated Splooge.
Ooh.
Nice.
Thank you,
man.
subscribing. I hope you're just like, why did he just splooge at me on the podcast?
Let the chat explain it to you.
Yes,
Jeez,
chat.
if you're
chat
new.
explain the splooge.
But yeah, I'm
That's what I
excited.
think,
I you know what's funny? The title isn't totally dumb.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, it falls in line with like the Star Wars line of stories. I mean, you are right with the Phantom Menace, like Star Wars Episode 1, the title that will not have any explanation until we get to the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand that. Like I get that much, but I mean, like Revenge of the Sith, kind of makes sense to it. George Lucas was terrible when it came to titles. Thank God people took like the Star Wars franchise out of his hands when it came to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you need to do this, George Lucas, with Episode 4. Do not do anything else. I get that much, and it's cool that it works that way. But I mean, I understand they're going for like falling in line with the Star Wars line of titles. It's just, I kind of wish it wasn't so on the nose.
Yeah.
That's the way I say it.
Yeah, so far I have not. So far in the new, guard of Star Wars movies, even from the prequels up to now, no title announcement has made me go, yes.
No, this one did raise a lot of questions for me, and I thought that like that in and of itself I think is worthwhile. Like the title may not be as exciting, like you mentioned,
Right.
but it is thought provoking because initially out of the gate you're like, oh, it's Luke Skywalker, and then you're like, is it? Is it not? Why is it red? You know what I mean?
Is it plural? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of questions.
I think it allows you to think on it, and it's going to linger, and I think that's kind of smart because it just keeps it back there for the next 12 months.
The fact that we can talk this long about a title, I think, speaks volumes about it.
No, it comes out this December, so it should be only 11 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the 8th installment of the
tickets
most successful movie franchise in history.
Yeah.
I mean, like naturally, when you're just like, here's the title of like one of the most anticipated movies ever. Then people are just going to be like, okay, they're going to scrutinize the hell out of the title because it's like everybody's like, here's the title I would have chose, or here's the title I would have chose, or something like that. Honestly, and I'll be honest with you guys, I kind of wish that Disney would like explore grab a little bit more of the extended universe and kind of bring it in, like Jedi that are neither light nor dark side. They just walk the middle lines.
Funny you should say that, Rob. As someone pointed out to me, The Last Jedi is actually the name of an expanded universe book.
Oh, it is, but I'm talking about content out of the.
I'm sure they'll do that too. They're already doing it in Rebels. They're already bringing in a bunch of old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On Rebels, for the first time, they mentioned the first ever Mandalorian Jedi, who's canon now.
Yeah.
Huh.
And the Darksaber and everything. Yeah, there's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I want Kyle Katarn.
But
I want.
Not yet, but there's
Kyle
time.
Katarn, I hope he shows up, man. That'd be great.
They brought
That would
freaking
be.
Thrawn in, man. They could bring anybody in now.
Yeah.
Right?
I want what's his name? I want.
Dash Rendar?
No, not
Yep,
Dash
Not
Rendar.
gonna see him.
I want. God, what was his name? Sal, the one who invented the double-bladed lightsaber.
Darth Maul?
No. Damn. I cannot
Did they
remember
say-
his name for the life of me.
Did they? I'm sorry. Someone mentioned in the chat. Did they change the Last Jedi? Is this the first one that's going to not be at Christmas?
No, it's coming out in December.
Okay.
I think this is the last one, and then they're
Okay.
changing it to
Yeah,
Well,
they
we're
really
gonna
shouldn't,
come-
though.
Exar
got-
Kun. There we go.
that got
Exar
my hopes
Kun?
up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want Exar Kun. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Next
okay.
piece of news.
Yeah, next piece of news. I'm sorry. I thought I interrupted you guys in the middle.
Oh, no. I was waiting for y'all to get it out. So, hey, we all love Paul Dini here, right? I
Yes.
think that goes without saying. Well, he's returning to the world of Harley Quinn comics. He's going to be writing a series of backup stories in an arc of new Harley books coming out very soon. And supposedly these are going to be filling in her backstory. And the poster art we've seen for it is absolutely amazing. You've got newish Harley standing back to back with animated series Harley. And I guess this is their way of kind of retconning and DC rebirthing Harley's admittedly very scattershot New 52 origin to be like, no, she wore that costume once upon a time and she had adventures. And we'll tell you all about them.
That'd be fine with me. I mean, we are definitely, because we're missing another 5 years, and my theory by that is that the missing 5 years is all the continuity you liked from pre-Flashpoint, and the idea is that, like, this is not a separate universe from the pre-Flashpoint world. It's literally just, like, the world changed a little bit, and that's it. But everybody's the same exact person that they were back before that. I'm fine with them saying, like, hey, I don't like this Harley, so I'm happy to see Paul Dini taking the reins. I don't know if Paul Dini... I haven't really dug a lot of Paul Dini's comic book scripts over the last, like, 2 to 3 years. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it's, like, back to its roots Harley, or if it's, like, I forgot what I'm supposed to do with this character Harley.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's still killing it on TV. I don't know if you guys are watching that Justice League action, but he's writing for that show, and it's still just as good and as fun as you remember.
I caught a couple episodes and was like, this is okay. Like,
It's cute.
It's not Teen Titans Go in
Exactly.
terms of bad, but it's fine. It's cool. It is exactly what it promises to be. So I don't expect it to be anything more than that.
It's the Justice League. It's action. It's some funny jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have faith that this guy can write, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, like, and he is he's one of 2 founding fathers of this character, right? And it's amazing to see him coming back in this sense. But Harley has grown over the years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's one of those few characters who is a significant other or love interest of a more popular character who came into their own, gained their own individuality, whether connected or not, but, like, has their own stories and is now considered one of the pillars of DC. And it's going to be interesting to see how Dini goes back into this, because is he going to pull her back to his roots? Is he going to legitimately use what the continuity is currently? Like, where is he going to go with this, and how prepared is he for the significant changes? Like, he must know, obviously. But it's one thing to be aware of it, and it's another thing to try to write for it now. You know, like, I know he did the Love is Love. He had a page in that.
Yep.
And the
that was-
Christmas special, I think, too.
Yeah, but the Love is Love, that was classic Harley. That was, like, his Harley, right? You know what I mean? And it was that, like, his style of writing. I know he can do different things, but I'm just wondering how easy is this going to come to him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like one, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, as far as Paul Dini has a hand in Gotham City Sirens, doesn't he?
The
See, like,
movie
writing
or
this-
the book?
The movie.
I don't think so.
I know David Ayer is going to be part of it, but I thought he had a hand in it. So, well,
That'd be really cool.
He didn't even know the movie was going to be called Gotham City Sirens until they announced it. He brought it up on Twitter. Oh, cool! They named the movie after a book I wrote.
Oh wow. But no, it's I will say I will always be a huge fan of Batman the Animated Series, and I loved Harley Quinn in Batman the Animated Series. And thank you, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, for setting us on the path that we are on now. That said, I prefer Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's Harley Quinn.
Huh.
Like, I really like what they're doing with her. Like, I love, like, I just finished, or at least the video that's coming out later this week, the prelude to the Return of the Joker, when Poison Ivy, like, breaks up with her. Like, it was kind of cool, because it was cool to see her go off on her own and do her own thing. And that's kind of what I like about that. Is she's kind of off doing her own thing now, like, away from the Joker, away from Poison Ivy. It's just, like, the one-man band. And I'm glad to see that. But I like what they're doing with her character at the moment. I know that, like, a lot of people don't really like her, but then again, a lot do, because she's, like, one of the highest selling titles
Yes,
right
exactly.
now.
People like her, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people like her. So, I really, really dig what's happening with her character at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
How long that'll last, I don't know. What I also want to see is some reconciliation. I'm tired of walking this line where it's like, I guess it's 5 years in the future. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll find out. That's coming up.
Yeah, it is.
And also,
It
too,
is.
the Harley Quinn in Squad being very different than the Harley Quinn in her solo book, who
Yeah.
interacts with real people and
Right.
the real DC comics. So it's like, wait, now how do you square this circle? I've gone cross. I'm not even going to try anymore.
If they
Right,
made,
right.
it would be smarter if they said that there were 3 Harleys instead of 3 Jokers.
Oh.
That would be interesting, actually. But no, I mean, I really
That's
like what they're
base
doing
too.
with her character, like with them fleshing her character out, focusing on her, like her whole, Red Tool and Big Tony and Egg Food. Like I like
Love
what they're
those
doing
guys.
with her, with her ensemble going on there.
Yeah.
I really dig it.
Well, don't forget also, he's only writing the backups, so any additions to Harley's character are going to be backstory at best. So my guess is the version of Harley you're getting right now from Connor and Palmiotti is the version you're going to have until the book stops selling so well.
Right.
Well, that was kind of my thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if DC's hedging their bets. Like, imagine, for example, they're all doing, they're doing their huge summit, and Amanda Connor and Palmiotti are like, look, we only really want to write this book for like another year.
Right.
And then after that, we're ready to move on to other projects. It's like, well, hey, Paul Dini, you want to write backup features? You test the waters, see how well they're received, and if they're received really well, it's like, do you want to take over the title? And then suddenly Paul Dini's writing Harley Quinn.
Paul
Which I'd be hyped
Dini
about.
writing a Harley Quinn book is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's funny it took them this long to get him involved with it, because if you remember, they took like 2 previous swings at doing origins for Harley Quinn, one in the Villains Month book and then another in like a 0 issue or something, and they were radically different stories, but they kept trying to be like, no, it's the Harley Quinn you remember, but she's different, she's gone through some stuff. And I'm like, why didn't you just get Paul Dini to do this? Fans would have accepted it so much easier
Yep.
if you had just gotten him to do it.
Yeah, it's not like Paul Dini left the entire DC pantheon for bigger and better things. Like, dude is still in the backyard. Let him do
He's
it.
down the hall.
Yeah.
No, but
He's
I
down
agree.
the hall with nothing to do.
And he is there, but I'm telling you, like I think it's going to be very different. You know what I mean? Like, the Harley that he created is not the Harley she is now. And like
Yes.
asking him to fill that in, I'm very interested to see how that goes, because it's going to be him managing what he thinks Harley is and then trying to meet what she is now.
I'm interested to see her back in Gotham, which they're kind of promising here. Apparently, the first story involves like an early night in Harley's career where she accidentally gives away the location of the Joker's lair to Batman. And she's like, oh man, I done messed up again. I'm not cut out for this work.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of a strange take. I mean, like how you would reconcile those two things would be the issue, because I could almost guarantee if they handed the book over to Paul Dini, it would be like, well, I want to write the book my way. Like, I don't want to write the book Amanda Connor and Palmiotti's way. I want to write it my way.
Oh, yeah.
And he would probably take it back to the 1990s, early 90s, 1992, 1993. Batman the Animated Series, Harley Quinn, which a lot of older fans would be receptive to. The question you have to ask is, how would like modern fans be receptive to it? Because if they've grown to love Harley Quinn as she exists now, does that mean they'd walk away from the title? That said, one of the reasons why I love Amanda Connor and Palmiotti's run is because she's not anchored to the Joker. And I have a hard time seeing, Paul Dini writing a Harley Quinn that's not anchored to the Joker, because that's the Harley Quinn he wrote.
Yes.
So,
Right.
I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder, because we're seeing the success of stuff like, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows and supposedly X-Men 92 coming down the pipeline in the next little bit. I wonder if DC would try and do something like that and be like, yeah, it's Harley Quinn 92, everyone. You got the old costume and
Right.
Paul Dini's right.
Oh.
Yeah, why not?
I think I would take
That'd
that.
be a great side comic. Like, it's just off. Like they're just like, here's stories about Harley Quinn. There is no continuity. It's out there in an alternate universe or something like that.
Make it digital, put it out every week like they did Injustice and like Batman Justice League 2.0.
Yeah.
I would read the hell out of that.
I think a lot of people would. You want another Injustice level success? Do that.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be awesome. But,
So what's up next?
While we're on the topic of DC Comics and everything, they're apparently going to be getting a little bit more expensive, but only select titles. I think you could speak about this more intelligently than I could, Sal. I know you were the one who brought it to my attention originally.
Yeah, I think they're gonna raise it by $1. They're gonna be like they're gonna raise like kind of their core titles up because they had said holding the line at $2.99, and then the books have been consistently on time and low cost. They're going to raise the price on a certain number of books, but you're also going to get a digital promo code like they used to with Marvel. So it's a little fu to
that's a little salt in the wound, isn't it? It's like, oh hey, you're not getting your digital codes from the other guy. Well, guess what? We got a lot of digital codes right here.
I mean, the fact is, it costs them nothing to provide digital codes for the book that you're buying, and if they're going to raise the price by $1, throw them the digital copy too. Why not? And most people, it makes it a little easier to swallow for everybody else, where they're like, you know what, I will do that. Like, I won't just drop the book outright because the price went up. It's like, you are trying to give me something extra without, like, adding extra pages or something.
It's important to note, too, that Action Comics, Superman, Batman, Detective Comics, the ones that come out twice a month, those will be remaining $2.99 because they're expecting you to buy it twice now. It's every other book that's getting raised from $2.99 to $3.99.
Right, and that weirdly makes sense. I don't necessarily want to embrace this, but it definitely makes sense. And it's just evidence further of how much DC and Marvel like to remain on opposite ends of each other at all times. They're like, Marvel's getting rid of their codes, we're putting codes in. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't want to be doing the same things at the same time, even though they often are.
Right, especially because I sense a rebirth for Marvel coming up. So
no, I mean, it's I sense that too, man, because it's like things have changed so drastically. Like, I really see them with the sales being what they are. Unless Marvel doesn't care about comic sales, I see them saying, okay, guys, it was a great, huge, grand experiment. DC's DCU was a grand experiment. That didn't work. DC's New 52 was a grand experiment. That worked for like the first year or two, and then it stopped working. We got to go back to the drawing board, and we got to kind of start over again. I mean, honestly, I'd be okay. I'd be fine. Like, I'd just be like, shit, or get off the pot. Reboot or don't reboot, like something, quit walking the middle ground. But no, with regards to DC, I kind of feel like DC is looking at everything Marvel's doing and doing the opposite. And they're like, and that's how we find success. Like, I feel like there was like a big summit where Jeff Johns is like, all right, everybody, here's a new rule for success at DC Comics. And they say, okay, Jeff Johns, give us your pearls of wisdom. He's like, everything Marvel's doing, do the opposite. And
because comics is such a roller coaster, give it 5 years and it'll be switched around.
I mean, that's exactly it. Because, I mean, like, let's be honest, like, where Marvel is now with all of these new characters or new individuals taking on the roles of previously established characters, it's almost as though Marvel was like, we have to give DC the space to do what they're doing right now, because if we start doing the same thing, like, it's not going to help us. Like, nothing that we're doing is going to help us unless we try to do the opposite of them. And that's what they were doing. They're like, we're going to bank on the fact that, like, DC's going back to, the legacy, to the old times, and like, so we'll just do something completely different, and we'll, like, just see how this goes. Now, of course, they've set themselves up for people to be really, really excited when it goes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that we know, like, that Coca-Cola did it on purpose, but, when, like, new Coke came out and everyone was like, this is awful, and then Coke was like, oh, never mind, sorry, and they put Coca-Cola back the way it was, and everyone was like, hooray, and bought more than ever. Like, they're setting themselves up for potentially that, for people to be like, hey, like Peter Parker is the only Spider-Man now, or like Cap is back to how he was, Thor is Thor, you know what I mean? They're setting themselves up for, like, old school hardcore fans to come back to something that they know and love.
Yeah.
And it will happen eventually. I mean, usually right in time for the next movie, the status quo is maintained in a book.
Yeah.
For that was reasons.
Oh, hey, Neo Gecko XL. Marvel had corporate backing ever since there were Atlas and Timely comics, since the 1930s. It wasn't until the end of the 1990s that they had no corporate backing. And then, like, they managed to just kind of pull it out of their ass and get a little bit of corporate backing, which reinvigorated their series. But, like, something to think about. What if Marvel's literally just killing time?
Right?
What if the whole, what if everybody sat down and they said, okay, guys, look, after Infinity War, the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets rebooted.
Oh my God.
And so Marvel's like, well, we'll just kill time until Infinity War. And then when Infinity War reboots, the comics reboot. And then just do it all at one time. Which actually would not be a bad decision.
That would be the biggest multimedia project. The effects of this movie have ripple effects to everything. You don't even know.
I mean, like, because it'd be interesting, because I mean, you could imagine a line of Marvel comics to basically reflect the movies. Like, hey, this movie just came out, and the comics tell you what's going on between the movies, and you literally have an infinite amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, here's when this movie happens, and then you just release story after story after story after story, and it all takes place. Because I mean, it's comic books. It's that sliding time scale.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's everything just gets condensed down. As far as with everything that's happening right now, hell, Civil War happened a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So
I know.
it's like
I've always loved that. When did Captain America get unfrozen from the ice? A couple of years ago. When did the Civil War happen? A couple of years ago. Annihilation Wave? It was also a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything just kind of gets crammed in. So I mean, and honestly, I mean, it'd be kind of a smart move to make. The issue is, can they hold out that long? That's the question.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with both DC and Marvel. They're part of these huge media conglomerates now. They don't have to just make comics anymore. I don't worry about either of these corporations. And they're part of, like, Americana and the worldwide fabric of entertainment. I'm sure they would stick around in some form or another. I don't think we will see a comics crash the likes of which we all lived through.
No.
Maybe a creative crash, but not the books are going to go away now.
Oh God, that was nuts, man! In the mid '90s, it was like, well, so Marvel's done.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll never see that again. Yeah, that. And in the '80s, it was inverted. They were like, Warner Brothers, like, hey Marvel, do you guys want to own all these Batman and Superman characters? Because I don't give a crap. Like, we're never gonna get there again.
Or at the point where they're like, Image, help us, you're making money, surely you have the secrets, Image.
Yes, draw our Fantastic Four comics, please. But yeah, so, we'll see. Next up.
All right, next.
Keeping up with the Marvel thing, and also while we were on the subject of multimedia projects and everything else, we know that Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out. We're all pretty excited for that. There was also an animated Spider-Man movie that they were talking about from Lord and Miller, the two guys behind the Lego movie and the 21 and 22 Jump Street movies. Well, we had theorized this all together on this very show, and now it's confirmed Miles Morales will be the star of the animated Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Such a good idea, because
it is.
Well, because you're gonna have a movie with Peter Parker Spider-Man that is live action. Everyone's gonna go see it, and you're integrating Peter Parker. But if you want to get another bite of the apple by making another Spider-Man movie at the same time, you might as well use the other Spider-Man you have at your disposal.
And you can be like, this one's different, though. Totally different story. He's got his own supporting cast and everything. It's a whole thing. The only thing they have in common is that they're both Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because, like how the Western world views animation is typically aimed towards children. Yeah. So if they continue with that, especially knowing that it is the guys who made the Lego movie, granted, adults could go and see that, but, it is kind of, for kids in a sense.
Movie.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, like, this is an interesting tactic in a sense, because they're really introducing to a younger generation Miles Morales as Spider-Man, because not all parents will let their little kids go and see Spider-Man live action because they'll be concerned, you know what I mean, whether or not they hear it's fine or not. Like, some parents are weird like that, they're not going to do it, right? But the cartoon, here you go. So these kids are going to potentially see Miles Morales as Spider-Man, and that's their first Spider-Man.
That's a good point.
M. Santos 21.
And I mean, there's so much good material there. I mean, I think one of the strongest Miles Morales.
Joel just totally interrupts me in the middle of
your splooge.
I thought you were
done.
Guy
getting splooged. No, I had a point to make. But go ahead, Joel. Speak,
about
Joel.
Yeah, let's hear your.
Can you believe we're an award-nominated podcast now with all this splooging? Surely the people who put us on that poll did not watch the show. But thank you. Anyway, Bleeding Cool. For those who haven't voted for us, go vote for us on that.
Yes. I'll put it in the description box below this video. You have until the February 1st.
Also, vote for Comic Pop, too.
Yeah, best web series.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Anyway, since Joel is now done. Okay. I think they're testing with Miles Morales, to be honest. Like, I think they're releasing this animated movie, and the goal is, I think Sal's right, in a degree. Like, the goal is just, why not release them both? You get the Miles Morales fans, you get the Peter Parker fans, they both get the best of both worlds. The Miles Morales fans will complain because he's not in a live-action movie. Whatever, be happy.
Whatever, get over it.
Yeah, get over it. So, I think they're kind of testing it. Like, I wonder what, like, the general audience's reaction will be to Miles Morales. Like, what do people think about them? What do people think about his character? Because they basically got the roster for Miles Morales lined up in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if they bring Miles Morales in, well, then now you got Peter Parker and Miles Morales. The question is, would they do that? Because Peter Parker's just now showing up. And if they are, then at what point do you put Miles Morales in?
Yeah.
You could always have your own continuity for it. In fact, heck, if this movie proves to be successful, I can see a whole animated universe down the line of being like, yeah, Miles is cool, but let's tell you about Kamala Khan for a second. and you time it to be like, okay, let's have the Captain Marvel movie and the Miss Marvel animated movie come out around the same time. So once again, we clean up, get the best of both worlds.
That's a great idea. The issue with it, the issue with it being like launched by Miles Morales is, as I understand it, Miles Morales' Spider-Man movie is basically Sony saying, we want to have a movie that we don't have to share any money with, and we want to be able to just put out, and we own it. The funny thing with that is the most recent news about Sony and how they're considering dropping their movie and TV properties entirely and selling to companies like, CBS, I think, is eyeing up buying Sony's properties.
CBS.
But that said, does that completely torpedo the Miles Morales movie franchise before it even begins? Does Sony even care? Because as I understand it, Sony's kind of banking on the success of the Emoji Movie. And so with that in mind, I guess that's the end for Sony Pictures, which is like fine. But the question will be like, will the Miles Morales animated movie, which is basically just Sony's attempt at being like, but we want to make a cinematic universe, and if it has to be animated with Spider-Man in it, I don't give a crap, I just need to make one.
Fucking do it.
With that desperation now out, because they are, in essence, out of the game, will CBS or whoever purchases that company, or those properties, and my guess will be Marvel will just go, I'm taking that, I'm taking that, I'm taking that.
Yeah,
now
like,
CBS
how does Marvel Disney not have first right of refusal for their own properties? Like,
You would think.
I don't know.
But at the same time, I can imagine Sony being like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's a question that has to be asked too with the original contract. Like the question is, if Sony decides to sell their movie division, do the Spider-Man rights go with it, or do they automatically revert back to Marvel?
That's a great question. I'd really like to know the answer to that.
I'd love to know the answer.
The hard part is that all these contracts that Marvel, signed up with all these other movie studios and corporations, they're all different. Like a Hulk at, what is it, like Paramount or not Paramount?
Universal.
Yeah, they have a right of first refusal in theirs that they've exercised a couple times, which is one of the reasons we're not getting solo Hulks.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the deal they have with Sony and Fox and everyone else? They're all different.
Yeah. Now, that said, hopefully, if CBS, I mean, we don't know who's going to acquire Sony Pictures, even if they do acquire the properties, but just spitballing really quick, does that mean that maybe I can get a Ghostbusters TV series, but on CBS? Because I'll take that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Anyway.
Anything's better than that movie that came out.
If Marvel Disney gets those rights back for at least Spider-Man, then maybe Miles Morales' animated project can go over to someone like Pixar or Disney's their own CG studio. And
oh God, dude, a Pixar Miles Morales movie, that would be surprisingly good. I
Even
think.
just Disney Animation, because those guys make, like with Tangled and Frozen and everything, Disney Animation and Wreck-It Ralph, those guys know how to do it. Even like hell, Big Hero 6, those guys did a Marvel property already.
They did.
Untethered to Marvel, but
cartoon soon,
my God, Marvel could make an animated cinematic universe, like the MACU or something like that, where it's
a perfect place for those younger, more accessible heroes like Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Sam Alexander, Nova,
Squirrel Girl,
the champions.
A Squirrel Girl show would be awesome,
or just a movie series. You know what you got to do, since it's Disney and Disney knows how to make it was the king of putting out animated shorts before your full movie. Every Marvel movie opens with a 5-minute Squirrel Girl short.
Dude, that would be beautiful. That would be extreme. And dude, that's the best way, because then you could literally just springboard that onto just hook them in and just say, hey, if you want to see more, or just at the end of the little short, be like, Miles Morales will return and Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man animated feature or something like that.
Yeah, or in Champions. They can make animated movies on properties they wouldn't even really... Well, I would say they wouldn't even consider making in live action, but, they made Guardians and it worked great. So, I don't know, there's nothing they can't make, but... Even the things they're like, well, we would do that maybe in 2029. Instead of doing that, now we can have an animated Champions movie or an animated A-Force movie or an animated X-Men movie because it's animated. Maybe they can do something with that.
That would be fun. Also, too, about superheroes in animation, if that was a Disney Pixar thing, that means when awards season came around, they'd win anyway because they were Disney.
Oh my God, best animated movie. That's a great
That'd be
idea.
awesome.
Because Disney wins every year, even when they shouldn't. They win every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you had Disney money, you could grease the wheels too. And
Yeah, the
Hey, I
Cape Joel
think
animated
we
movie
did
would win every time too.
Look, I'm just saying Kubo is great, and Leica's day will come. Is all I'm saying.
So what is up next for the comic book world?
Well, keeping it in the realm of Movie Town right here, we all heard about that Shazam movie that's supposedly happening somewhere in the DC pantheon. Maybe
Yes.
it is, maybe it isn't. We know they cast The Rock as Black Adam, and that's all we know so far. And he's also gonna be getting a movie now. All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go see a Black Adam movie. I don't care who's in it. But as I understand it, The Rock was instrumental in influencing the DCEU alongside Jeff Johns, because The Rock is a DC fan and was very disappointed with the direction the DCEU was taking, and so he had a meeting with Jeff Johns, and they had a meeting with Warner Brothers, and apparently the result of that meeting is not only is Black Adam getting his own movie, and not only is Shazam definitely in the DCEU, but the DCEU post Snyder's ejection will be significantly altered. Like that the mood will be shifted, and that people will be pleasantly surprised by the changes happening in the DCEU.
hold on, is this official?
That was what I heard. I saw
It's the rumblings.
I saw that The Rock and Jeff Johns both had a meeting with Warner Brothers executives, and that The
I saw
Rock
that.
had boasted that changes were coming for the DCEU in tone.
How sad is it that they would listen to The Rock before they listen to Jeff Johns?
I
This guy's
know!
got a lot of muscles and tattoos, and he's
That
doing
is-
a lot of good movies.
That is
He knows
Hollywood.
what's up.
That is Hollywood to a T. You could literally have like Brian Michael Bendis could be a member of the Marvel Brain Trust, but like if Tom Cruise wanted to play some ridiculous character, he'd walk in and go, "This guy knows what he's talking about." They'd be like, "Oh, okay, Tom, I'm so sorry." Like,
Look, at the very least, if he knows what he's doing, and if he can literally eject Zack Snyder, like if they can just like
Launch him
Fresh
into
Prince
the
of Bel-Air,
sun?
like out the front door,
Yeah.
with Zack Snyder, fine.
yeah, like
but
DJ
with The Rock,
Jazzy Jeff out of Uncle
yeah,
Phil's
if you can
house.
just pick him up and escort him off premises, that's okay.
The Rock will do it himself. He's big and strong enough. He'll
That's
rock
insane.
bottom him out a window.
Yeah.
Oh my God, The Rock could finally then potentially play Superman, like they did on SNL.
There you go.
Yeah,
If you haven't seen that sketch of The Rock playing Clark Kent,
dude, it's
Google it
amazing.
because it's amazing.
Like his Superman costume is like sticking out from his sleeves.
Yeah, because he's gigantic.
It makes sense of him being a fan too, because they're like, hey, Dwayne, you can have any role you want in the DC. What do you want? I want to be Teth Adam. I want to be the Black Adam. They're like, who is that? I want to be him.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean he
that's
does look
not
like him. It'd be
ironic.
awesome.
That's what's so ironic about it is if it's a mood shift, like I could see The Rock bringing like happy, fun, interesting, a jokey tone to the DC cinematic universe.
Because
The
when you think
problem
happy
is
fun,
that,
you think Black Adam.
well, that's the problem. Black Adam's a bad guy.
Yeah, he is not fun.
So he's not fun. He's not like a happy, fun
He's
guy.
morally complex. I would compare
The
him to a
Rock-
Doctor Doom, but yeah, he's pretty evil.
The Rock
Yeah.
played the Scorpion King.
Oh God.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
Dude,
Yeah.
I bet The Rock would deny that. Like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't know
At this
nothing
point,
about that.
No,
Yeah.
you were there.
That
Yeah.
wasn't really. That was CGI. Is what that was.
I definitely like what you're telling me,
Totally.
Sal, about him being a fan. I didn't know that. My first thought when I heard about this was like, oh, what a wonderfully DC Warner Brothers move here. We have Shazam, who could be a great children's movie because it's about a kid who becomes a magical Superman. Yeah, but we're going to give a movie to the villain, though, because a big Hollywood star wants to play him, and we don't really got anything else. I mean, worked great for Harley Quinn, so
Yeah.
it'll work for him, too.
Then we
Yeah.
can put out a movie like Gotham Sirens, where it's it's DC Gods, and it's just the big powerful characters.
It'll be him and the Spectre and Eclipso and all those guys.
And Batman.
Yeah, Batman too. He's a god. He's a bat god.
Well, because Batman sells tickets.
He sure does.
God damn it.
And
Yeah.
merch.
But I'm down. Like I don't care about Black Adam or a Shazam movie like at all. But if that's how we get like a rebirth of the DCEU, I'm down. I'll go see 2 Black Adam movies if it fixes the problem.
What's
That's what
funny?
it takes.
It's like this is kind of funny, and like there's no information to support this. But what if like Shazam or Black Adam ended up being like the Iron Man for DC?
It
Yeah.
should be.
You know what I mean? Like a
mean-
character where you're like, how could this possibly work? You have a charismatic actor playing it who really is like into the property.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it just blows
They
people's
play
minds.
it right. It could be their next Harry Potter. It's a little kid. It's wizards. It's mythology. It's all this other stuff.
It's
There's a lot of great
wizards.
material in Shazam that they refuse to tap for whatever
Yes.
reason.
I mean, if that was the case, we all end up walking around with egg on our face because everybody's kind of laughing at DC for The Rock, playing Black Adam. Just, I don't know. I mean, I see it if The Rock was going to be like a legitimate bad guy, but it's like The Rock is like the dad that never gets angry. He just gets
Are we ready to
disappointed.
hate The Rock yet? Or-
No. I'm just saying. It's like I could never imagine The Rock getting mad. I could just be, somebody runs up on The Rock and pulls a gun on. It's like, give me all your money. And The Rock turns around. It's like he's not angry. It's like I'm really disappointed that you. Like damn.
He's
Damn
played villains before, maybe not in great movies.
In Doom.
Yes.
That's right. He was the bad
Exactly
guy in
what I was
Doom.
thinking.
That's a
Damn
guilty
it.
pleasure. I love his performance.
That is not a guilty pleasure of mine, but he did do it there. It was a bad movie choice for him.
Yeah.
But
The movie was a bad movie choice.
Well, keep in mind, he was also really badass in the Fast and Furious movies.
Right.
And so if they did that, if they gave him a Black Adam movie and he pulled it off, and people were just like, man, he's a good bad guy. Imagine how that would expand his role in Hollywood, because now he's a dynamic actor.
Yeah.
He can play the good guy, he can play the bad guy, he can play the guy whose moral compass is a little ambiguous. Like maybe he has allegiances to good guys and he has allegiances to bad guys.
Yeah.
He's a guy that just does whatever it takes to win. I mean, he'd be a really, really dynamic actor. It'd be pretty solid.
Yeah,
triple
it's
threat.
what'll really time will tell, but the biggest litmus test will be Jumanji 2.
Yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah, can he be franchise Viagra for that like he's invigorated other series? I wonder.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
He didn't make the
well, he
Tooth
is the
Fairy.
hardest
happen.
working actor in Hollywood because he
Kind
pretty
of
much
is.
says yes to anything.
Yeah, he's the Nicolas Cage of the action movie world.
Yeah,
Well, here's the other question you have to ask too. If Black Adam shows up in a movie, someone explain to me how Black Adam is bigger than Superman.
yeah.
Like, how do you score? Because you're gonna have Henry
Because I have the
Cavill.
power of all the Egyptian gods inside of me.
I
that's why.
guess, man. You're gonna have Henry Cavill, and you're gonna have Dwayne Johnson, and Dwayne Johnson is almost twice the size as Henry Cavill, and it's just like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is Superman, dude. Like,
Yeah,
even
I'm
just
down.
for the sake of appearance, Superman's got to be bigger. I don't know.
I like the idea of Black Adam being buffer than Superman, but Superman just
Yeah.
being like, but Superman standing toe to toe with him. I'll take
Got
that.
the heart.
But yeah,
Be David versus Goliath. It's like Superman stories are not supposed to be David versus Goliath. Superman is not supposed to be the underdog in the fight.
they'll just get Batista to play Superman for those scenes,
Oh God.
Yeah.
like
I
all the
wonder-
muscles.
I wonder too, because you mentioned Superman there, so I wonder if that's another reason why they're rushing ahead to get Black Adam into the movie universe, where it's like, but after we do Darkseid and Steppenwolf, who's Superman gonna punch after that? There's no one he can punch. We're not gonna do Lobo because that might actually be fun and entertaining.
Or Brainiac.
Yeah, okay, Brainiac. But who after Brainiac? Well, I guess Black Adam is magic, and I read in these funny books that apparently magic hurts Superman, so let's do that.
yeah. It's not even that I read it in those funny books. That would require them to read them. It's more like some nerd on the internet told me that Superman's vulnerable to magic or something. I don't really know. I didn't watch the whole video, but I got the gist of it. Bam, 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 bam. Thanks for the $80 million.
Yeah,
They'll just fix all his movie stuff. They'll just bring in Mr. Mixel-Splitnick and he'll just
I'll take
Yes,
that.
please.
right.
Wow.
Voiced by Gilbert Godfrey.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yay.
Yeah. Get him out of retirement for it. He'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, why not?
Knowing current movies will be that Jim Parsons jerk from Big Bang Theory. They'll get him to play Mr.
You know what?
Mixelplick.
If
Oh.
they use to get from one dimension, like to one universe to the other, fine. Who cares? Like it's just
I'll
like,
take
this
it.
was fun for a while. Now I'm gonna go look at this other.
Yeah. I don't know. Alan Tudyk does really great voices. He could play like King Candy from Mr.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's
I like
awesome.
Oh, Superman! Here we
Send
go.
the devil dogs after him.
All I really want is for The Rock to play Captain Condiment, or was it Condiment King? That's what I want him to play Condiment King. Like I want to see I want to see The Rock just come running in with a bottle of ketchup and mustard and just spraying people down with shit. Like that's.
He
That
uses
sounds
his
like-
pull in Hollywood. That's the one role he wants.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that sounds like the best birthday present nobody's ever gotten for Rob.
What?
Just
The
A
Rock
condiment
running
king?
in with a ketchup bottle and a mustard bottle and just.
Oh yes.
being like, "Hey, Rob."
Just spray me down with ketchup. Dude, I'd be the happiest man in the world.
You would,
if
you'd
The
be
Rock
like,
just came
"Oh!"
running in and sprayed me down with ketchup and mustard. I'd be like, yes, yes, Rock, just spray me down.
And everyone would be like,
Why is he enjoying this? It's gonna be-
What's next?
Mommy, that man's enjoying that too much. Okay, so from Black Adam and The Rock, we have some more comic news here on the Marvel side of things. We talked about On the Pull the previous week. We talked about Monsters Unleashed. It had its first issue. It was okay, I thought. I mean, how did everyone else feel?
It was a fun distraction. Yeah.
Here's
I loved it. I like B monster movies though, so I loved it.
You know what the problem is? It's not selling well at all.
Well, guess what? The thing isn't even done yet. It's only one issue in, and they've already announced that Monsters Unleashed is getting an ongoing solo series now.
No,
also
it won't.
written by Cullen Bunn. They've already announced it. Which thank you, Marvel, for once again spoiling an event before it's done. You're like 4 for 4 now.
Yeah, you're all for all.
You're all for all. The cover of this, for those who have seen it, it's the Asian kid who was doing the drawings. He's got a whole colorful monster team behind him that looked like they were like drawn from the pages of Ben 10. And then I'm like, oh, is that what Marvel's going for? Do they want their own Ben 10? Is that what this is all about? But yeah, new ongoing for Cullen Bunn, so expect that when Monsters Unleashed is done.
Great.
But
Yeah.
I like Bunn. I trust
Me
him.
too.
I know everyone's tired of events. I literally just don't think about this as an event. I refuse to allow myself. I'm just like, this is just a graphic novel that's just for some reason coming out in individual
Yeah, it's-
like elements.
It's just a
Like,
mini-series. It's just a fun
it's a miniseries,
mini-series.
and that's how I'm thinking of it, and I like that, and I really enjoy Cullen Bunn's work on Harrow County, which is a horror book that he does, but he tells it in like almost a campfire or like the oral tradition of like storytelling, and it involves a young girl and like monsters and demons and ghosts and all this stuff. So like I trust him when writing like a kid involved with something that they should not be involved with like this. So like I'm excited to see his take on that. I was excited that they had all these teams working together and everyone was just having a nice time fighting
Yeah.
monsters. You know what I mean? Like, if we just don't get in our heads that this is an event, I think, like, the fact is, I feel like Bunn probably wanted to do this for a while. Like, this is something right up his alley. I think it was something he was excited for. And I think it got crammed in between other events that were going on. And I think that put it on the wrong footing. I think Civil War II shouldn't have come out at all. And if it hadn't, I think people would have been more receptive to this.
Yeah, I think instead, if Monsters Unleashed had come out in the summer after Civil War II, I think people would have been like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is kind of
Nice
fun."
palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of
That's
just what is
it
this?
I mean, because okay, like I'm a prime example. Like literally, my job is to read everything, and it
Yeah.
got to the point where I was like, Marvel, like, I don't really even care. I'm just gonna cherry pick what comics I think would be interesting, and then just read those,
Yep.
and throw everything else to the side. But then like the Rob core is like, you have to read Moon Knight, you have to read Moon Knight, you have to read Black Widow, and I
Yeah.
read them, and I was surprised at how good they were. And
Yes.
so, I think that this is going to be, hopefully, it'll turn out to be one of these titles that kind of sleeps through and then suddenly takes people by surprise, where it just becomes really popular all of a sudden.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
The issue with this is it may be that Marvel's just kind of banking on the upcoming solicitations, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, a lot
I'm
of the
down.
launches that are coming up. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Yeah, X-Men Blue. Dude, okay, Sal, man, let's take it back to 1992, man. Like let's roll back to 1992,
Where
with
X-Men
Gold and
ruled
X-Men
the
Blue.
world, and like
Dude.
that was the #1 selling title. People, here's the thing: Marvel backdoor piloted a reboot for the Avengers through an X-Men book. Like that's how popular the X-Men were.
It's hard to believe
Oh,
in this day and age
dude,
when
no,
they're an
dude, it was-
afterthought.
Dude, it was nuts, man. Like literally, Marvel did Onslaught. They looked around. They were like, "What's selling?" Is it X-Men related? No, then it's not selling. And so it's like, no, dude, that was literally where they were. Well, Spider-Man was a good exception.
And
No,
even
literally
then,
where
like they were
at.
doing their damnedest to drive that book into the ground. But no, it was X-Men ruled the landscape. X-Men was, and like they couldn't make enough X-Men books. Can you imagine a world where an X-Men event took, I think, a year where they literally rebooted the whole universe, created a dystopia where they created a whole slew of brand new characters that they introduced through traditional storytelling and not through gimmicks and one-shots and horseshit. In an age of gimmicks and one-shot and horseshit, called Age of Apocalypse, then reboot everything so that it's right back to where it started before they even started Age of Apocalypse, and then started another event. They had the audacity to do like 3 events in 2 years, and they all went back to back to back, and they all were connected to each other. Like, Wolverine loses adamantium in Fatal Attractions was connected to Onslaught, was connected to Age of Apocalypse, was connected to everything was just X-Men was just a sprawling. It would be like if Days of Our Lives and One Life to Live and every soap opera you've ever seen were all in the same town, and everybody had to watch all of that show, like all of those shows, and at the end of the series or at the end of the year, they all coalesced into one show. It just that was how X-Men was.
Okay,
it was unbelievable.
Okay, so just to give you guys in the chat, just to give you perspective. All right, so like Bishop shows up in 1980 something, 1989, I think it is.
Yeah,
maybe,
like late 80s, yeah.
Yeah, like late 80s. Bishop shows up, and it's just like I come for the future, which is just like Days of Future Past, but a little bit different.
Future.
And the future. I come for the future.
We were teeing you up so hard for that.
It's just like Days of Future Past, but a little bit different. Somebody betrayed the X-Men. I don't know who that person is, and I don't know when they did it.
But I'm here to kill him.
Yeah, I'm here to somehow stop an event that I don't have enough knowledge to prevent from happening. But but that was his whole gimmick. All right, that runs all the way up till 1996. It got to the point people just didn't care, and they were like, all right, whatever.
Well, no, I think what they did was they were like, I think it's Gambit, and then it turns out it wasn't Gambit, and he's like, it was a shapeshifter that was pretending to be Gambit. He's like, all right, cool, I think I've stopped the future, and then he's like, and then it turns out. No. Remember that question you thought you had the answer to that nobody asked anymore? Well, we're answering it, damn it, and it's Professor Xavier!
Okay. So here's the other thing. So Age of Apocalypse comes on the scene, and Sinister's like, I'm the same guy I always was. Like, I'm just going to take the genes of Scott Summers and Jean Grey. I'm going to make this stupid, powerful character so that he can cast off Apocalypse, and then I can be, like, ruler of the world.
Yep.
Age of Apocalypse comes to an end. All right, you've got Beast, who's, like, evil Beast in
Dark
Age of
Beast.
Apocalypse. Just Dark Beast. Experiments on people. Keeps coming back. Age of Apocalypse ends, like, somehow Holocaust makes it through.
And Dark Beast and X-Men.
X-Men they all make it through, and they're just plot threads that linger on forever. Yeah. The Dark Beast story wasn't resolved until, like, 2 or 3 years later in Onslaught, when Xavier's like, I always knew you were Dark Beast.
Yes!
Like, how is this the most convenient thing ever? And so it's like Beast is being held prisoner the entire time. Like, it was literally Marvel taking every plot thread that had been left when Jim Lee was like, the hell with this, and bailed out, and when Chris Claremont was like, the hell with this, and bailed out, 3 issues into the start of X-Men Volume 2. Like, they literally wrapped all that up with Onslaught Saga. They rebooted it. Franklin Richards walked around with a blue ball for a year, and then they all came back after, with Heroes Return. Like, I mean, that's one of the things that cracks me up is because people are like, yeah, man, we're in the event age. No, we've been in the event age forever.
Yeah.
Since the 90s. It's always been that way.
Secret Wars was 1984, and it was 12 issues, and it put all the other books on hold. Like, what happened? Like, literally, Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man jumps into an open doorway that leads him to Battleworld, and then the next time you see him, after Secret Wars, is him jumping right back out of that doorway. Like, no Spider-Man books. No Spider-Man stories. It was actually worse, because nowadays, they're like, Spider-Man is in... Let's say Spider-Man's on Jupiter, and he's fighting some freaking thing. But meanwhile, Amazing Spider-Man is totally uninterrupted, and everything that's been happening has been back to back to back to back, so there's no possible way that he could have that event, and yet both stories happen simultaneously, and they're all part of the same continuity. F you, it's all part of the same continuity.
It's like they're afraid that if they don't put event on it, that people won't buy it. Like, if they put, like, that it's a mini-series on it, they're like, well, then I'm not going to buy it because it doesn't affect anything.
Well, it's not important.
And it's like, well, maybe it's just a nice story. Like, for me, like, I don't really know. I don't know what the ramifications of Monsters Unleashed is going to be. But to me, this just feels like it was literally a mini. And they were like, let's put event on it.
Yep.
Because now it's an event. Because everything's an event. You know, like, if we don't put event, they're not going to buy it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, because they've never not done that. So they can't imagine what the fallout will be if they don't do it.
Right.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, it's man, I mean, Monsters Unleashed is fun to get a break away from everything. Like Monsters Unleashed is like I would go through because I'm not going to buy the rest of the issues. I'll wait till it comes out in trade.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something where like you know what? I'm tired of reading everything right now. I'm just going to stop for a week and I'm going to buy like Monsters Unleashed and just read that and then go back to everything else after. That's the great thing about Monsters Unleashed. I think it's a great way to reach out to people who don't care about like the traditional comic book stuff. That's why Vertigo is still in print, because there are some people out there who just don't care about DC superhero landscape. They just want to see Lucifer Morningstar do whatever it is that he does. And so like those comics stay doing devil shit. Like corrupting people's souls. I don't know. Like they just want to see that kind of stuff going on. Yeah. You know, and so there'll always be a market. Shit. Yeah, like there'll always be a market for that. That's why you have Gwenpool. That's why you have, Devil Dinosaur. Or I guess Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, Deadpool the Duck. You just have like these goofy stories that are usually miniseries. I think Monsters Unleashed. I think Marvel kind of jumped the gun. I think they're just like, hey guys, Monsters Unleashed, and then all the news sources picked it up. So they're like, okay, let's make it. Let's make it an ongoing. No. You wait and see how it sells, and then you decide if you want to make it an ongoing.
Or maybe you just be happy with the story you told and be like, that's enough. Like, it's okay for things to have an end. Like, it's really all right. Not everything does. Like, obviously, like things like Spider-Man, they're ongoing. It's gonna keep like going out into the future. But there's okay for some things to have a complete end, and for it to end in a timely fashion, and not just out of nowhere because you're canceling the book. Like, it's all right, guys. Like, it's really okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Old Man Logan's going to have an end because Jeff Lemire's going to stop writing it with issue number 24. And whether the title ends or not, I will not be reading it.
No, it will end for Rob.
It'll end for me. Unless I'll give it one volume. I'll give it one trade, one story arc after Jeff Lemire leaves. But he's leaving on a magnum opus.
Yes.
Like, it looks like it's going to be incredible.
What if Jason Aaron came back on and said, yeah, I'm going to write Wolverine again?
I'll take it.
I will read it.
So will Tiffany. Tiffany will pick that book up.
Well,
Jason Aaron, man.
Jason Aaron's writing like everything right now.
It's
so...
true. Yeah. He's a busy man. He's a very busy man.
Well, while everybody else jumps ship from Marvel, that's like, well, who has a name that is good? Give it to him.
Nuts, man. Like Mark Waid, Brian Michael Bendis, Jeff Lemire, Jason Aaron are writing. So Nick Spencer writing. It's like 5 writers writing. Between them, they've got to be writing like 70% of Marvel's titles.
Well, and Bendis is writing like 4 or 5 books in there too.
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying. Like they've got to be writing like just those 5 guys have to. Dude, could you imagine that? Like between 5 guys, it's like each of you are writing like 3 or 4 titles each. It's like, whoa.
There's no way that can be sustainable.
I'd get it all mixed up. I'd be like, who's doing what this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
all right, let's move on.
So, hey, in the world of animated movies, on the DC side of things now, today actually on digital via iTunes and all the other things, Justice League Dark finally came out. In fact, I have it queued up on the TV. I'm going to watch it here when we're done. And as with all of these DC animated movies, whenever one comes out, they have a little teaser in there for the next one. And the next one is officially going to be Teen Titans Judas Contract.
Yeah.
I am excited for that. People keep telling me, usually Faust, but people keep telling me that Judas Contract is like the seminal. It's the Phoenix Force of the Teen Titans.
Yes,
like it's the Phoenix Saga of the Teen Titans. It's like the seminal run of the seminal story of Teen Titans, and everybody tells me it's the one you read if you read any of them.
Yeah,
so.
They have been working on a Judas Contract movie in one form or another pretty much as long as they were teasing a Killing Joke one. These two were like the two. One day they'll make it. Here's the thing, though. Maybe this will kill your buzz. I'm not sure. It is actually a sequel continuation of Justice League versus Teen Titans, which I actually quite enjoyed. I thought that one was actually one of the better ones of the new ones they've had. So it's going to be that team, although Damian doesn't seem to be in it. Nightwing is in it because Nightwing was in the original story, but he's not wearing blue, he's wearing red. And also they've redesigned Deathstroke again for some reason.
God.
I know.
So it's just a mess, is what you're saying. It's just a total goddamn mess, is what you're probably... Because, like, here's the thing. Remember when DC tried and succeeded in making direct-to-DVD adaptations of classic stories?
Yeah.
Maybe they should just try that.
They really should. They really need to go back. It's funny. I liked Justice League v Teen Titans because for a second there, it looked like they were ready to dump the shared continuity thing because it had ironically come out the same week as DC Rebirth, and they were downplaying a bunch of the costume change, and they're like, well, maybe we're connected to war, maybe we won't. The fact of the matter is, it's impossible to have a shared universe universe of direct-to-DVD animated movies, because you won't be able to keep getting the same voice actors back every time. And also, these movies are getting cheaper and more corner-cutty every time. They're reusing assets from Young Justice and character models from Young Justice shamelessly and hoping we won't notice.
That's
here's
rough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, that's it.
No.
Just that sucks.
Oh. Well, here's the thing, man. I mean, see, it'd be different if they had, like, BuzzFeed the hell out of their title, and they were just like, Teen Titans, the most insane story that you'll never believe what happens. Like, the Justice League hates them. I mean, like, you wouldn't, like, it'd be different if they had gone that route, but they call it Judas Contract. In for a penny, in for a pound. You might as well just do the Justice League.
And, like, do it go full tilt, like, use the George Perez designs, like, make it full 80s, get a fun synth band to do the soundtrack, like, just go full tilt, make Jericho look like a goddamn jackass pirate clown. Like, I'm serious, like, why, like, these are the books people like. When anybody says you gotta read Judas Contract, whenever anybody says you gotta do Judas Contract, you gotta read Judas Contract, they didn't, like, update Judas Contract. When you hand them a copy, they look like it's from 1980 goddamn 6. So just make the movie like it's from 1980 goddamn 6. And when people say, "What the fuck is this? Like, why is this why does this movie look like this?" Go, "Have you seen the comic? Because it looks just like that." Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it'd been different if they were just like Teen Titans New Frontier or something along those lines, where it was Teen Titans, and something more clickbaity. They basically made, the Judas Contract. It was just Judas Contract by a different name.
Right, but a different name.
It'd be different if
the
they
name
done
in there,
that.
people will expect something, and they keep doing that.
Exactly. It's like me making a video that's like Teen Titans Judas Contract, like the story arc, and then give them something else instead. Like, if you call it. I mean, if you make a Teen Titans movie and you call it the Judas Contract, the only people that you're really going to draw are the people who want to see a Judas Contract animated movie. So it's not like a movie title that screams you have to go see this.
Yeah.
I mean, some people may see it just because of curiosity, but like you wouldn't release a live action movie called Teen Titans Judas Contract. You'd make it something, but this is clearly a little animated film designed for like a more niche audience. Yeah. So then give them the story that they want to see.
Right. No, Rob, it's more like if you did a video called Superman versus Doomsday, and the video is about the Doomsday War from the New 52. You'd be like, what the shit is this? And you're like, technically, it is Superman versus Doomsday. And they're like, but this sucks. And he turns into Doomsday at the end. And it's like, what were you expecting?
It's an inner battle. He's fighting him internally.
Yeah. Like, no, I thought you were talking about the one that everyone liked, the one where he punches Doomsday and dies. Like, why would I do that? That's old.
He figures out how to beat Doomsday moments before he dies.
He's like, wait, I'll punch him as hard as I can.
It should also probably be noted, too, that apparently the DC Rebirth comics, with both the Deathstroke book and the Teen Titans book, are going to be revisiting Judas Contract. They're going to be doing like an updated version of the story. So I can only assume that this movie is to help tie into that.
Well, they've been trying to do that Judas Contract movie since before they even did Rebirth.
They have, but I'm sure it's happening now because of it.
It could be. Yeah. I mean, it could also just be because that's the Teen Titans story that everyone thinks of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I could see them doing that because with Deathstroke Rebirth, Priest left out a lot of backstory there. He's just like there were. I mean, like what is it, Jason? Which one becomes Jericho? From
Jericho is whatever Deathstroke's son is, whatever his name.
No, but I thought he had I thought his name he wasn't born Jericho.
No, he had a different name. Yeah,
he had a different name.
And
he
just
just
to know this shit. There's two. Yeah. There's the crappy son
who
works
Grant.
for Hive and gets
the one
killed.
that dies, and then there's Jericho.
Grant, and then there's Grant and Jason, and I think Jason became Jericho. But whichever one it was, like there was Christopher Priest left out a lot of backstory there in terms of like what happened to his sons. Except for I think Grant goes on to become some guy that I don't know. Whichever one
Grant is the Hive guy who gets killed.
Joseph is Jericho. Apparently.
Joseph. Yeah. Then Joseph, I think, won. In any event, like regardless of what it is, Christopher Priest left a lot of doors open, and so I can easily see them coming back and saying, okay, let's have like the Teen Titans, because remember we got Titans Rebirth now. Yeah. Which means that it's a great way for them to go back, for DC to go back and say, okay, here's how like Deathstroke knows them, because Deathstroke doesn't know Wally West right now, But if they go back and
sees him on a monitor at the end of the issues, like,
Exactly. So if they go back and they say, hey, here's everybody's memories being restored. Like,
all he has to do is touch them and they'll remember.
Dude, imagine they do that with Rebirth. Imagine they just like they just remodel the entire concept of 52, and it's like the missing 5 years or something like that, or the missing 10 years. So instead of it being like the missing year, it's like 52. Where it's like, here's a year's worth of stories on what happened in this time period that you missed, and it's just retelling classic stories. Like, that would be cool. Like, that would be bad. I am a genius. That would be badass. Because you can literally update these characters for the modern day. Like, update these and give, like, reinvigorate a new audience, so that when people sit down and they say, why is Judas Contract the seminal story for the Teen Titans? Well, then, Teen Titans Rebirth will tell you that, or Titans Rebirth rather will tell you that. Like, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, I'm sorry for my little tangents.
No, that was fine. There's not much to say about the animated movie. It's coming out. Could go either way now, because DC animation is hit or miss now with their DC animated movies, which is a shame, because they used to all be great, and I used to all be excited for them all the time. Now I don't know. Ever since Flashpoint Paradox, I don't know if it's a loss of interest, a loss of money, or just the new direction they're going in, but they've been not as good.
Yeah.
I mean, Dark Knight Returns was my favorite. That two-part one,
so
that was
great.
my favorite.
Wonderful.
Did a great job.
Very good.
All right. Flashpoint Paradox, I would say, are like,
Yeah. Let's round things out, because we've been going for over an hour. What's
Damn. Well, we got one story left, and it's one that I'm sure we all want to talk about at length. In fact, Rob and I actually talked about this on the pull last week. But the second Logan trailer dropped, and it was the Red Band trailer, and it was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. X-23 confirmed.
Curse, not curse?
Yes.
I did. It's fucking sweet. It's an R-rated movie, but I'm not taking a pay cut to make this R-rated. So. unlike friggin' what's his name, I ain't doing that shit. Hugh Jackman, I ain't doing that shit.
Okay, so I'm glad we finally got to see X-23's claws. Granted, we all knew that was X-23, but there's a difference between seeing her pop her claws and not seeing her pop her claws.
Yes.
It's like having Hugh Jackman.
People who didn't know that was going to happen and their minds blown is a great feeling.
I mean, it's like, okay, like you guys, I mean, when we read Old Man Logan, it was like, okay, yes, I'm digging the story. Yeah, I'm digging the story. Pop your damn claws, Wolverine. Like, just pop them, and then you get the full page. Dude, I love the back you did, Sal, because you were like, and then you just get this full page snicked, and it's just the words.
Yeah, it's literally 2 pages of him of the onomatopoeia. It's amazing. That's a great reveal.
It is such an awesome. It's just like, oh god, he's reaching out, and I kind of felt that way watching this. It's like, yes, we get to see her claws. Yes, we get to see her claws, and it was really exciting. That said, they looked okay. I don't know if Fox just like handed over creative control and was just like, "This is your last your last outing as Wolverine. It's all on you. Do whatever you want to do."
Yeah,
and because it like X-23 looks badass.
Yeah,
like the way her character is playing out, like it looks like it's gonna
move
be awesome.
over, Hit Girl.
Yeah,
there's another cool prepubescent girl who kills people with blades.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wondering how it's going to end, because Hugh Jackman said it takes place in a different universe.
Yes.
Which Old Man Logan took place in a different universe. So I'm curious how they're going to kind of wrap that in, or it's just going to be standalone. It's just like, it's out here in left field.
On one hand, I'm happy for it. On another hand, way to totally mess up your timeline again, Fox.
Well, they were saying, like, this is separate, so it's like, I actually kind of wish they wouldn't even say about timelines, because, like, this movie looks awesome, and I don't want it to interrupt the delightful ending of Days of Future Past. Like, I don't want it to be like, well, Wolverine wakes up from his, like, post-apocalyptic nightmare and realizes that, like, everything's okay, and,
and he kills everybody all over
again. And then it happens all over, and then a different apocalypse happens instead. Like, no.
I gotta tell you, I can imagine, and like this is based off of like an actual thing that happened, but like I can imagine non-comic book reading fans who kind of know the Wolverine movies and the Wolverine, or like the continuity they've established, being totally confused.
Yes.
Because like after this trailer came out, a family member of mine reached out to me and was like, "Okay, what?" And like I had to explain what we thought it was based on, and had like go into all these details because like they didn't know what to think of it, because they were like, I don't understand. That's not where things were going.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
last time I saw Wolverine, he like woke up in the future, and then the next time I saw Wolverine, he was in the past.
Yeah.
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 What is anything anymore?
Oh, dude, it confused because like it's weird. I had to sit down like when I don't remember if I was doing a Periscope or what, and people were asking. Well, it was when the trailer dropped. People were asking about Old Man Logan, like how does Old Man Logan work? And I'm like, okay, so you have the Old Man Logan story, you have Hickman's event or Hickman's Fantastic Four, which gives you the future of the Old Man Logan universe. Then you have the Old Man Logan story that continues on into Secret Wars, and now you have Jeff Lemire's Old Man Logan, and people were like, I'm confused. And it's like, okay, I don't know how that confused you, but okay.
Right.
You know, like, so I'm just going to go through all the Old Man Logan stuff and then do X23. But no, it's easy to throw people off, especially when with a comic book audience, it's different. Because, you know, people go in expecting, okay, with comic books, you're going to get the suspension of disbelief. And even then, like, 90% of the movie-going public will probably never go pick up the Old Man Logan comic. And if they did, they'd pick that up and never read anything else from Wolverine. So, like, it makes, I mean, because they don't, I mean, for them, it's just Old Man Logan. They might go on later on, but they want to know what happens in the comic in comparison to the book. That makes sense. The issue with this is that the folks who are going to go see this don't know how comics work. Like they don't know what retcon means. Like they don't know how that stuff comes together. I mean that's one of the reasons why when you typed in, you know, the ending of Days of Future Past Explained, all you saw were articles saying, here's what a retcon is. Like that's all you saw all over the place because people didn't understand how that worked. And so
it's retroactive continuity for all of you out there as I push up my glasses that don't exist.
Yeah, it's just injecting something into the history of comic books that wasn't there before. And so, like, what the cool thing about this, though, is that we do get to see some semblance of an Old Man Logan story. My question, and this is something, because when they announced it, I was like, one of the first things I asked, because they were like, Hugh Jackman's going to make an Old Man Logan movie. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like he kills off all the characters that Fox has the rights to. So how?
He took a pay cut. That's where it started. They're like, okay, we don't have to pay you that much, then we'll give you more freedom. Also, Deadpool did good, so I guess we'll give Madrigal more freedom too.
Yeah. But regardless, you know, one thing I'm hoping that they don't do with this, because assuming that Fox keeps the X-Men, let's assume that Marvel's not getting the rights back to the X-Men, Fox is keeping them from now until the end of time. I really hope they don't one-off X-23. I hope that it's just like she walks off into the sunset and we never see or hear from her again. Like I hope they don't do that. I hope they find a way to bring her in, you know, or something like that, or you know, whatever the case may be.
Maybe she'll be the new franchise. Wouldn't that be some shit?
Oh, I'm sure she will. Like that would be the way to do it. Like keep her around. Find some way to just throw her back into the modern day. I don't know.
Oh, put her in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Deadpool
my God.
goes to the future, her and Cable grab her like in a potato sack, and then they go back.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be
You're coming with us, young lady. Hi.
You don't have to put Deadpool in Old Man Logan. You can put Old Man Logan in Deadpool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just grab like deleted scenes, cut footage, whatever it is, and just like inject it in. No, here's what I want to see. I want to see X-Force. Like I want to see X-Force like an encounter between Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I want to see an Old Man Logan, like he's just making his way. He and X-23 are just making their way through there. Like they come across some gas station and they just hear beating like from like underground. Like what the hell is that? And they open it up and like somebody locked Deadpool in a box.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh my God, thank you. Like I've been stuck in there for 500 years. Yeah. And then he just leaves. And that's all we see.
That'd be great.
And Reynolds would do it. He's like, I got an afternoon. I'll come do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would definitely do that. It'd be amazing.
They already made the life cast in my face. Just put it on. I'm down.
Really don't want Deadpool to be in this movie.
it would kind of change the whole thing. But can we also mention, too, in the Red Band trailer, we got to hear Patrick Stewart say, fuck. That was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Love him.
He's so great.
Mm-hmm.
She's 11, I'm fucking 90.
Yeah, it raises a lot of questions with this, because it'd be different if it was done in a way that set the stage for the future of the X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
And when they came along and they said, this takes place in a different universe, okay, then, I mean, do they say, hey, like we just cut things off with Apocalypse? And because as far as I know, like James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence, and Fassbender had an agreement that either all of them come back or none of them come back.
Yeah, they're basically done now.
Yeah, and so because Jennifer Lawrence is like, I'm just not doing it anymore, then they're like, okay, then none of us are coming back.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how you square that circle. Maybe the X-Men are done. And
they don't know where it's going again. They're like, do we reboot another time? What
they
do we do?
They just greenlit a pilot for an X-Men TV series.
whatever that might become.
But it's called they're calling it an X-Men TV series. They're not already calling it Hellfire Club or Legion. Like, it's an X-Men show, and I think that's probably going to be their way of being like, we're going to get the soap opera nature of X-Men without spending $100 million every 5 years.
That's all we really want, the soap opera.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe they'll make it like Degrassi, but with X-Men.
Yeah, it'll be like X-Men Evolution.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't tease me. I love that show. which ironically is where X-23 comes from, for those who didn't know. She's a canon immigrant. She got her start in that show.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Maybe look at Joss Whedon to come in.
Oh, God. Make some snide remarks through his actors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have, like, Scarlett Johansson pop up, talk about how she's a monster.
We can have a musical episode.
Yeah.
No.
Apparently they're all the rage.
No, I don't know. I mean, I will say I'm really hyped for Logan, but I'm going into the movie just curious in terms of what happens next.
Yeah.
Like, where do you go from here? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, and it's kind of interesting because I was reading this article by The Wired, I think, or somebody, where they were talking about Fox's use of the X-Men. And they said you sit down and you watch movies like the original X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men Last Stand, you watch Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, and they're like, the one common theme is that Fox never looks to the future.
Yes.
It's never like, what do we do after this movie? It's like, let's just make this movie and get it out. Like, they're the equivalent of comic book one-shots.
Yep.
Like, there's no future, no looking to what happens.
Well,
It's
I mean,
just like,
even X2 ends with the Phoenix.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, Apocalypse ends with a Phoenix, but the issue is, like, the next movie we get is, and that may be it. It may just be that this is Logan. It's just a one-off. Maybe this is the one-shot of the Fox X-Men universe. And then they pick up later.
Perfect example of what you're saying, Rob, of them not looking to the future. I told this to you the other day there. Mr. Sinister, who was the big stinger at the end of X-Men Apocalypse,
like anyone gives
going to be in this movie. Yeah, they took him out of it because Madrigal's like, yeah, that won't really do well with our more realistic, grounded Mad Max universe we're trying to build, so,
Yeah.
Can't have him.
Yeah.
Fine.
Also, you gotta put a weird snide remark in about comics. Why is it that the X-Men franchise can be doing so good, but they still need to make what did you expect? Yellow spandex? It sure didn't happen like this. Why do the movies continually need to stop and remind us that they're better than the source material?
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic because they're not.
I'm okay with Mr. Sinister not being involved. I don't know. Like, every time I think of Mr. Sinister, all I think is the animated show and, the Savage Land and that whole angsty Jean Grey Scott. I'm almost like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't want that.
He's cool, but, I don't know. He needs
He's a great design. That's about it.
He is, but, he needs that kind of, if you're going to set it up, you got to set up that whole thing. You got to be like, no, we're going all in
with
on Mr.
Sinister.
Sinister.
Here's the other interesting thing too. And I didn't even think about this until the other day. X-23 is in this movie. Well, X-23 was created long after Fox or Marvel sold the X-Men rights to Fox.
Yeah.
And so I guess the standard of the contract is any character that exists in the X-Men franchise or is created to be part of the X-Men franchise is owned by Fox.
Yeah, that's why they don't make New Mutants.
Yeah, and so as long as they have New Mutants cranking out, Fox will always have stories. Yeah. Which it's
that's
weird.
Why would you make that contract?
Yeah, well, you sign that contract when you're going under.
Yeah, I know.
Because we need money, that's why.
I gotta tell you, I would love to see Hugh Jackman play Old Man Logan, but I would be really in awe, and I know it's not gonna happen, of Fox if they were like, nope, that's it. We're not gonna be telling a Wolverine story for a long time. You know what I mean? Because what are we gonna do? We could put him in another movie, but it's like, all right, but we're going to reboot it. We're going to find somebody to do it better than Jackman. Give it some space. Give it some time to breathe.
It would be cool to have no Wolverine for a good long time, and then you unleash Wolverine into one of your movies. You're just he's here now.
That would be the equivalent of the Snicked page. It would be
or his debut where it was like, what is this?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't even think Fox believes their movies will succeed without Wolverine. That's the reason why we got him in X-Men Apocalypse.
No way.
Yeah, and everything.
Let us not forget, too, Hugh Jackman has said at least twice before this, yep, this is my last Wolverine movie. I'm never doing another one after this. I'm going to be in Les Mis or any of those other movies I'm in. There's a chance he might have so much fun doing Logan, and people could give him such accolades and say, oh, it's an amazing swan song for him. Oh, it's the best he's ever been. And then he'd be like, you know what? Maybe I got two more in me.
Yeah. Maybe just keep making old man Logan movies.
A little more money. Maybe I got 2 more in me.
There is something to be said about going out on a high note.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's been playing Wolverine for 17 years. I think even Hugh Jackman himself, he's like, it's time for me to not be a mutant with an adamantium skeleton and adamantium claws and just do anything else instead. Yeah. Like I could see him saying, this is it, I'm walking away. The only exception I could see to that is if Ryan Reynolds talks him into Deadpool 2. And even then he would just have like a small little cameo. I wouldn't see him having a major role. But I don't know. Yeah. But in terms of the trailer gets me even more hyped for the movie. The movie looks like it's going to be amazing.
Totally.
If it really is the end of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I think it'll be one hell of a film. I think he will put his all in making this film as good as possible.
Yep.
But you hope. But I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I'm also excited to see what could potentially be Patrick Stewart's last
X-Men movie
role in these movies. You know what I mean? Like he's a phenomenal actor. I'm so glad that it's seemingly, for at least the heroes, it's like such a small cast. You know, he's so good at what he does. And I think making this movie tonally more dramatic, I think that it's just so perfect.
It's a good idea,
yeah.
More to do.
It's one of the only times where it's like, oh, I guess it's a good thing you didn't develop anyone outside, Xavier and Wolverine, because now they get to have this movie together because you can't have Hawkeye.
No, it's true. Like I cannot wait to see these two actors just acting at each other.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because there's no one else there. I mean, you have X-23. You'll probably have the Reavers that are chasing after him, or the what am I thinking? Ravagers.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, that are chasing Reavers, Ravagers, whatever. The cyborg folks that hang out with Lady Deathstrike all the time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have them, chasing after the two of them. But I would say for a brunt of this, there'll be a lot of dialogue between Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, and that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
I think it'll be awesome.
No question.
Enjoy Stewart while you can before he voices poop in the Emoji Movie.
A scene that's along the lines.
What? Oh, did you not know that?
What?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Tiffany's kind of lagging out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So I waited.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I recognized that. I was like, oh, wait, I'm smarter than all that now. I was going to say what I really hope for is a scene in this movie between Wolverine and Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart where they essentially do almost the Quint and Brody on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
In Jaws, you know what I mean? Like swapping war stories kind of thing. Just, I really want to see that so badly.
That'd be cool. I'm down.
One time I faked my death, and then I faked my death again.
Right?
I would love to see that. Like, Patrick Stewart just be like, right here on my chest, Mary Ann Moffat. She broke my heart. That's really what I want to see. Like that would be hilarious.
Right?
Yeah.
And Patrick Stewart can roll up his shirt sleeve and show that he's got like Moira McTaggart like tattooed on his arm. Or Lalandra.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh God.
In Old English, Lalandra.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm extremely excited for it. The post-credit scene will tell us what happens next if there is one.
Yes, no question.
That'll tell us the next step.
Big time. Well, there you have it, everybody. That was the weekly poll. Those are all the topics that were fit to be printed, that we collected and then espoused our opinions on for you guys and the weekly poll fandom and chat. Thank you guys for watching this episode, and of course, if you haven't already, check out everybody here on this panel and subscribe to our channels. Gentlemen and lady, what is happening this week on your channels that you are excited to share with the folk who are watching the show? Rob?
I have, I don't remember. I think I have Black Widow coming out. I've got the Justice League. Oh, the origins of the Justice League Zero team.
Cool.
The Lobos Justice League team. I've got, God, I don't even remember. I don't even have my schedule in front of me. I've got some cool stuff coming out.
You should definitely check it out.
You should check it out, my channel. Yeah,
That's
you
right.
should definitely come over.
Joel, what's up?
Well, as always, I've got reviews for the comics that are coming out through the week. I've also got podcasts. You can listen to the Comic Multiverse at Wednesday at 8. And furthermore, if you want to catch up on Geeky TV, you can head over to the Weekly Pull channel. That is the channel that Sal nicely curates and uploads with this very show that you're watching here after it's done on Comic Pop. You can catch Cape TV, which is a show where I talk about TV shows in the geek landscape with my buddy Matt. A lot of people seem to be liking it. It's got almost 2Ks in views now, so thank you for that, everybody.
Yeah. Tiffany?
Well, tomorrow, I know Sal and I are going to be doing the Elseworlds Exchange, where we're going to be continuing our series on how to create your own comic.
That's right. And, of course, we're going to have a special uber exciting crossover episode of Back Issues, so stay tuned for that. And so that's it, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. And, of course, stay tuned on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/EligibleMonster to catch this show live. We'll see you guys later.